Right. So why people even talk like he the best at? He didn't even fight at 135 yet.
Right.
He didn't even have power at 126, 30 or none of that.
He is good.
Okay. How can you? All that's just okay.
That fight between him and Teofimo Lopez, if they fight.
If they fight, I think Shakur wins. I think Shakur wins.
Teofimo Lopez, we've seen him at his best, but he typically brings out his best characteristics when he's back against the wall and he's counted out. And he's going to be counted out in this fight. By and large, people are going to side with Shakur in this fight to win the fight because he's the more consistent fighter, he's the more class fighter overall.
Boxing pros offered mixed views ahead of Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez. Gervonta Davis sounded frustrated discussing Stevenson, questioning why he's treated like a proven champion without elite-level wins. Davis argued reputation means little in top fights, stressing true respect is earned only after facing, surviving, and defeating the best opposition inside the ring at the highest level under real pressure.
135 contemporaries have a lot to say these days. Shakur Stevenson, well, of course he's now 135 after all that stuff, and then Devin Haney.
Right. So why people even talk like he the best at? He didn't even fight at 135 yet.
Right.
He didn't even have power at 126, 30 or none of that.
He is good.
Okay. How can you? All that's just okay. How can you stop people that can actually hit? No matter all that boxing, you're going to get hit.
Paulie Malignaggi and Chris Algieri offered a detailed breakdown of the upcoming clash, sharing insights into each fighter's strengths and how public perception shapes expectations. Malignaggi noted that Teofimo Lopez often faces heavy criticism and is frequently underestimated, largely because Shakur Stevenson enjoys greater fame, a bigger fan base, and more media visibility. Many fans naturally side with Stevenson, assuming he holds a clear advantage. However, Paulie stressed that reputations mean little once the bell rings. He believes fight night is where narratives are rewritten, and Lopez has the mindset and tools to rise above expectations. Malignaggi predicted that Lopez will seize this moment to assert himself, display his skill, toughness, and confidence, and prove on the global stage that he can compete at the highest level and potentially defeat Stevenson in convincing fashion.
Situation, because Teofimo is at his most dangerous when he's counted out. And this is going to be one of those fights where he's going to be counted out. Because Shakur is looked at by and large as the guy who can dominate boxing in this generation, right? It's just a matter of him getting the opportunity. I myself have felt that he's the guy who could and should be dominating boxing if he gets the right matchups. But bro, this is one of the rare matchups, if not maybe the only matchup, where I feel like it's a big threat here to Shakur. And then they would all come undone only because of this reason. Teofimo Lopez, we've seen him at his best, but he typically brings out his best characteristics when he's back against the wall and he's counted out. And he's going to be counted out in this fight. By and large, people are going to side with Shakur in this fight to win the fight because he's the more consistent fighter, he's the more class fighter overall, and he's just so damn good. But Teofimo has a way, when you're so damn good and he knows you're so damn good and everybody feels like you're gonna beat him, there's just something about Teofimo, man. He brings out a different level and somehow supersedes that guy who's that damn good. I've seen it. We've seen it already. I'm not saying anything that anybody else hasn't already seen. Okay, I'm just stipulating it. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know who wins this fight. Because again, your better head says Shakur, but then you think about Teofimo. Again,
He's got the X factor.
He's got the talent to. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
Shakur is extremely talented and could be the face of boxing as far as being that good, being that dominant, even though no matter how good you are. But this is one of the rare fights where you can get beat. And I don't ever want to hear any of you tank nut huggers that he fights one Uber driver after another. If Shakur Stevenson loses this fight, I don't ever want to hear any of you saying, oh, what about Shakur now? Tank this, tank that. Tank fights the guy that delivers my pizza. He fights the guys in the back that are doing the production. He fights the truck driver. I don't want to hear because he would never have done.
Lamont Roach approaches a potential matchup with strong confidence in Shakur Stevenson's ability to control every aspect of the fight. In Roach's view, this is not a contest driven by chaos, unpredictability, or reckless exchanges, but one shaped by rhythm, structure, and command. He believes Stevenson dictates the pace from the opening bell, using sharp distance management, elite timing, and footwork to force opponents to operate at an uncomfortable speed. Roach suggests that if Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez were to meet, Shakur's ring IQ and ability to read movement would gradually shut down Lopez's explosive attacks. Rather than turning into a back-and-forth war, Roach sees the fight becoming a technical showcase, where precision, discipline, and patience steadily neutralize aggression. His assessment implies Stevenson's mastery would prevent the bout from ever becoming truly competitive, leaving Lopez struggling to find openings, momentum, or sustained offensive success.
Okay, cool.
But and doing that, and so I was always going to fight this year. He knew that too. I was always going to fight this year. It was going to be either like a tune-up or something before I fought him, if we were to get that together.
So who do you think wins that fight between him and Teofimo Lopez if they fight?
If they fight, I think Shakur wins. I think Shakur wins. And I don't think it's going to be like a super tough fight either. I think he just, his IQ will frustrate him. Yeah,
Wow. Don't you think Teo has also good ring IQ and also is slick, is fast?
I think so,
explosive?
but when you look at Teo's performances against guys that are just pure boxers, it's just like he almost lost to Sandor Martin. Some people thought he lost to Sandor Martin. Who else?
He did beat Loma, who's arguably at the time considered
Hell
one of the
yeah,
best in the
he
world.
did, and that was a hell of a performance too. A hell of a performance too. So yeah, I mean, I think he's hit or miss. I think he got stuff. He a little cuckoo too. Like he has like a little mental lapses every once in a while. Look at the Kambosos fight. Like that's a fight that people would never expect Kambosos to win, and he won a grueling match against him as well. So I just I don't know. I don't think he can get it done against Shakur when it comes to like. Because it's going to be just a skill match. I don't think he's going to try to rough Shakur off.
Roy Jones Jr. frames a matchup as a test of preparation and execution rather than reputation or hype. He stresses that Teofimo Lopez cannot afford even brief lapses in focus against a fighter as precise as Shakur Stevenson. Jones explains that Stevenson excels when opponents hesitate or drift out of structure, quickly punishing mistakes with sharp counters, smart angles, and positional control. According to Jones, if Lopez enters a fight without his best instincts, discipline, and mental sharpness, Stevenson will steadily break him down through movement and accuracy. While Jones respects Lopez's natural talent and explosiveness, he makes it clear that talent alone will not be enough. Against a calculated fighter like Stevenson, every round carries weight. Jones warns that Stevenson builds advantages patiently, and once momentum shifts in his favor, turning the fight back becomes extremely difficult.
Yeah. I think it's a great fight. You'll really see, because at the end of it, they're both Olympians. They're both multi-division world champions. Teo is an incredible fighter. Shakur is an incredible fighter. Shakur has a really high boxing IQ and Shakur coming out with it's gotta be a good.
Gary Antoine Russell focuses on a specific version of Teofimo Lopez rather than the fighter in general, pointing to Lopez's performance against Vasyl Lomachenko as the blueprint for success. Russell explains that when Lopez fully commits to pressure while remaining calm and disciplined, he becomes a dangerous opponent for anyone. In that form, Lopez controls the center of the ring, dictates exchanges on his own terms, and limits his opponent's ability to reset or escape. Russell believes that if Lopez brings the same intensity, confidence, and mental focus, he can disrupt Shakur Stevenson's rhythm and prevent him from settling into a comfortable defensive groove. While acknowledging Stevenson's elite skill set, Russell suggests that Lopez's best performances prove he can rise to the highest challenges when he is mentally locked in and executing with purpose.
Out in the ring.
It's 50-50. In order for you to participate in this sport, you gotta have a high level of confidence. I feel like both of them has a high level of confidence. Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson, but styles make fights. Naturally, I think Teofimo Lopez is stronger than Shakur. Naturally, I think he has more athleticism than Shakur, and he got a good IQ on the sport itself. But Shakur, I feel like he's a more smarter fighter. He's a more technical fighter. You know, I'm not saying that he's a square or he's just a textbook fighter, but he's seasoned, he's poised. I feel like mentally he's more mature. Like he don't go outside of the boundaries on taking risks. So a lot of times you'll see him fight somebody that could be stiff competition, and it'll wind up being a warm fight to a degree. You know, that's why everybody was criticizing him. Oh, he's a warm fighter. He's a careful fighter. And I feel like with Teofimo Lopez, he's going to be a careful fighter. Now, just because he's a careful fighter doesn't mean that he isn't punctual with how he do things. I think Shakur, he got a lot of this arsenal that he can use to make him be victorious as well as Teofimo Lopez. You know what I mean? So it's a 50-50 fight, and it depends on what fighters show up the night of the fight. You know, but if I had to give my whole honest truth, if Teofimo Lopez show up and is ready to fight just like how he fought Lomachenko.
Several analysts break the matchup down by emphasizing physical attributes rather than style alone. They point out that Teofimo Lopez appears to carry slightly more raw strength, which will play a key role during exchanges, clinches, and moments along the ropes. Shakur Stevenson, meanwhile, earns praise for his speed, particularly his footwork, hand placement, and ability to enter and exit range cleanly. Analysts argue this contrast creates a balanced contest, as each fighter's strengths are capable of neutralizing the other's advantages. Power can slow movement and apply pressure, while speed can minimize damage by avoiding clean shots. This dynamic turns a fight into a tactical chess match instead of a simple brawl. Ultimately, analysts believe the fighter who best imposes his physical edge will control the tempo, positioning, and overall direction of the bout.
Very good offensive fighter. The difference between the two, for me, I think that Teofimo might be a little bit stronger of the two. But, you know, speed can sometimes nullify power.
Right.
It depends on if you can use your speed to get you from round to round, as opposed...
Teddy Atlas pushes back strongly against a long-standing criticism directed at both Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. He explains that fans were once quick to accuse each fighter of avoiding dangerous opponents, but Atlas believes that narrative no longer applies. According to him, both men are now stepping into challenging matchups that many doubted they would ever take, and that willingness deserves respect. While Atlas acknowledges there are questions about whether their styles will produce a wild or explosive fight, he stresses that great boxing is not defined by chaos alone. This matchup, he argues, guarantees a high-level showcase of skill, intelligence, and control. Atlas highlights Stevenson's recent performance, praising how he mixed aggression with elusiveness, managed distance, worked effectively on the inside, and punished mistakes both at close range and from the outside. For Atlas, this fight represents the pure essence of the sweet science rather than simple spectacle.
Teofimo at certain spots, he's avoiding this guy, he's avoiding that guy. You can't take those shots at these two guys. Definitely can't now. They are stepping up, and they are taking fights that a lot of people are probably surprised they took. Now, a lot of people will say style-wise, Teddy, style-wise, is this going to be a great fight? I don't know if it will. I mean, style-wise, I can see you having a little reservations, you know, whether or not these guys will make for dynamite. They will make, you know, for electricity. I don't know if they will, but I'll tell you what they will make for. Two skillful fighters, two talented fighters, you know, two fighters that are at a high skill level that will compete in the sweet science. I mean, Shakur showed aggression in his last fight against Cepeda, you know, being elusive while being aggressive, you know, walking them down, fighting on the inside, you know, boxing well, still being able to counter, still being able to control space, but also be able to go into tight quarters and not be afraid to show that he's good on the inside too, that he can make you miss and make you pay outside and inside. Shakur showed that. That was great. That was great, and people applaud him. I applaud him. We were sitting there, ringside. I was sitting there actually with your sister, ringside, watching that fight. And It was a terrific performance. Shakur showing that dimension, showing that attitude, showing that competitive, showing that dog like people like to show or like to talk about.
Timothy Bradley added important nuance by warning against underestimating Teofimo Lopez. He stresses that this is far from an easy fight for Shakur Stevenson, regardless of any perceived technical edge. Bradley notes that Lopez fights with a high level of unpredictability and confidence, qualities that can unsettle even the most disciplined opponents. He describes Lopez as highly autonomous in the ring, capable of making spontaneous adjustments that can suddenly change the rhythm and direction of a fight. Bradley believes this independence makes Lopez especially dangerous, as he doesn't rely strictly on instructions or predictable patterns. For Stevenson, this means maintaining constant awareness and adaptability throughout every round. Bradley's analysis suggests Stevenson cannot depend solely on clean fundamentals, but must also be prepared for moments when Lopez breaks convention and creates unexpected openings.
It ain't gonna be an easy fight, nope. After studying freaking Lopez yesterday, man, look, that athleticism that he got, that speed that he got, the boy is a what's the name I'm looking for? What can I say? He's autonomous. That's the word I'm looking for. He's an autonomous fighter. Okay? What does that mean, autonomous fighter, Tim? Shakur is too. Just like Floyd is. Just like Crawford is. Just like Inoue is. You know, young fighters want to get to that point in their career where they become autonomous fighters. Okay? Where you don't need no damn instructions. You don't need no guidance. You know how to figure it out. Your fundamentals are so damn sound that you got skills now built on top of those fundamentals. Now it's second nature for you. You know what I'm saying? You just see the same patterns and rhythms and styles and so on and so forth that it's second nature. It's nothing for you. These guys can operate without any damn instruction, without being told what to do. That's how great these dudes are. Or I should say good they are. They still got to prove they great, right? But, you know, look, the thing that surprised me about T.O. last night after watching him, man, is that his speed and quickness and how fast he's able to strike. Look, I'm going to tell you where he's going. Because I watched a little bit of Shakur last night. He going to Shakur.
Analyst Henry frames the Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson matchup as one that could bring out Lopez's absolute best. He explains that Lopez needs elite-level opponents to reach his full potential, suggesting that his ceiling rises depending on the caliber of the fighter across from him. While Lopez has experienced losses in the past, Henry believes those defeats do not define his limits, and this fight could showcase the most complete version of him yet. Turning to Stevenson, Henry highlights his undefeated record, consistency, and technical skill, noting that both fighters are the same age and firmly in their athletic primes. Physically, their dimensions are similar, which adds another layer of intrigue. For Henry, the bout is dangerous for both men, as it tests not only skill but also adaptability, strategy, and mental toughness under the highest level pressure, making it a truly compelling contest.
Lopez needs opponents like Shakur Stevenson because they are elite fighters. He needs that to bring out the very best in him. I just can't see how it's possible that whilst Teofimo, we've seen a ceiling with him in terms of he's been beaten by certain opponents, we know that he can lose in the ring, but I don't know if that's a genuine ceiling, because I think that his ceiling is actually one of the most changeable in boxing based on who's in front of him. And so actually, I think there's a very, very good chance we're going to see the best possible version of Teofimo Lopez in the ring against Shakur Stevenson. But we should talk about Shakur Stevenson before we get into the nuts and bolts of the fight, what it might look like, and why it's so risky for both men. Now, Shakur Stevenson is currently undefeated. He's 24-0 with 11 KOs. He turned pro back in 2017. He's the same age as Teofimo Lopez at 28 years old, both men in their athletic primes. He's 5'8". These are on paper heights, so potentially a little bit shorter. He could even be a bit taller than Teofimo Lopez. I really need to see them next to each other to make that assessment. No lifts in the shoes, all that stuff. But around the same size is the most important thing. The difference, though, with Shakur Stevenson is he's actually a 3-weight division world champion. And he started a division lower than Teofimo Lopez, meaning naturally it would appear that he's slightly the smaller man. Although that doesn't necessarily mean they're now not the same size. He could easily have filled out to be roughly the same size as Teofimo Lopez is on the night in the ring. Now for me, I'm going to jump back to 2021 to first start talking about Shakur Stevenson, when he managed to get a win over Jamel Herring. Again, he'd had significant wins before this fight, but it was the first one where I really tuned into his career. Notable wins had already come against Joet Gonzalez, Jeremiah Nakathila, but no one that was really a household name. Maybe Joet Gonzalez. No giant names. Jamel Herring was the first one where I was like, I know who Jamel Herring is. He beat Carl Frampton. He beat Lamont Roach. This is a very, very decent operator. And what can I say? I mean, Shakur Stevenson just absolutely dominated him and TKO'd him in the 10th round of their fight. But this was a really, really landmark, standout performance from Shakur Stevenson. The talent was there for all to see. Everybody could tell.
That's all for today's video. See you next time.